Candidates for second vice chair. Dr. Kimberly Hardy is a social work professor who serves as the second vice president of Democratic Women of North Carolina, PAC chair for Lillian's List, and formerly as president of the Democratic Women of Cumberland County. But as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Hardy is running for second vice chair and was not able to join us until 7:30. So I'm going to give her 1 minute to summarize your platform, which is what all the other candidates got. Thank you all so much for your flexibility. Dr. Hardy?
Thank you for your flexibility. I appreciate that. So here's the thing. I am a social work professor. I just got finished teaching a policy analysis class, which is why I'm late. Again, my apologies. And earlier this morning, I taught a community organizing class. I do this every day. What is necessary for us to change our winning and losing strategy right now is an organizing effort that's year-round. We need to connect with county party chairs and their precinct leaders. I am a precinct chair. I know what it means to be at that granular level where you're talking to folks house to house, neighbor to neighbor. I'm also a former candidate. I'm on the board of Lillian's List as their PAC chair. I understand what it means to be a candidate with your name on the ballot and what it means when the party does and does not support you to get across the finish line. We have to do this not one election cycle to the next, but consistently year round, and do it with the people who are working on the ground every single day. And that's what I want to do as second vice. So here's what I think about the voter turnout situation. How do we get voters to come back? Number one is we run a Democrat in every jurisdiction, because you have to give Democrats in these spaces, particularly in rural spaces, a reason to know that it matters that they come out. And even if you're in a district that's like an R+15 or an R+25, where maybe the local candidate isn't able to win, and that is unfortunate, we'll do everything we can to fix that. But even if they can't, their votes still matter for statewide and congressional races, and so they still need to come out. But the reason that they don't come out is because they have lost trust in the party. They don't feel like the electoral political space is connected to their actual everyday lives. We're talking about DNC talking points that candidates like me, when I was running in 2020, have to talk about writ large, and they're not unique to the spaces where the voters live. And so that's why they don't want to come out.
Your question. Do you think there is a strong, consistent Democratic message to voters that applies statewide? If so, what is it? If not, what should it be? And Dr. Hardy, would you get us started, please?
There is, but there shouldn't be. Because, so again, I ran in 2020 and I ran for the state house. And when I ran, we were given the talking points that were important to, Governor Cooper at the time. And it was important to us too. Raise teacher pay, yes. Expand Medicaid, yes. But and those are talking points that come from Raleigh, if you will. But the message needs to be unique to the spaces that we occupy. When we've been calling all the folks on the SEC, when we're talking to the folks who live in the rural counties, it is a completely different set of narratives that they need to hear. Because when I talk to the folks in Montgomery County, the chair told me only about 40% of the people in her county have broadband access. That's a message that's unique to some spaces, that's not unique to others. And so the message needs to be specific to where somebody lives and the needs they have in their day-to-day lives, and not just one overarching one-size-fits-all policy.
All right, so our question is, one criticism leveled against the NCDP during the 2022 midterm was that field organizing got started too late. Do you agree? And if so, how would you change the timing of the fieldwork that the NCDP does in 2024? Well, Dr. Hardy?
I think you're going to get a lot of similar answers in terms of, yes, we started too late. Again, I go back to my belief that we need to be engaged in communities year round, and we need to be engaged in those communities at the county party level as well as the precinct level. But in addition to that, one of the things that I hope I'll get to do is interact with the AOs. As the second vice president of Dem Women of North Carolina, I am responsible for interfacing with the auxiliary organizations, and I would like to see us ask them to to be really intentional about bringing out the various bases that they represent as AOs, but at the same time working with the county party and precinct level folks so that they can get on the ground and engage with communities on a consistent basis. This is not just, we're not just Democrats at election season. We're Democrats all the time, and we need to be responsible for and accountable to the constituencies in our communities consistently, which will make GOT be much more effective.